This was one of the most incredible episodes I've recorded to date. I'm incredibly grateful to my guest, Christy Bond, for everything that she shared. From her journey starting in powerlifting to how being overcome by grief with the loss of someone she deeply cared for, and how her sister Kate sharing and encouraging her to come into the sport helped her deal with grief, and how that moved from coping and dealing with grief to becoming the best version of who she is. Why it's so important to her to have her daughter grow up in the gym surrounded by strong, powerful women, surrounded by an environment that is warm and encouraging, as our powerlifting community is. How dealing with anxiety in the gym and on the platform helped her deal with anxiety in life. This is such a valuable conversation. It's for everybody, and I encourage you to listen to it all the way through to the end. This one is going to help you, and you will gain wonderful insights from this episode. A big thank you to my amazing guest. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions, the powerlifting edition. They are beautiful. So, Christy Bond, welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions.
Hello, Nick.
Yeah, hi. Oh, is that coffee or tea you're drinking?
It's definitely a big coffee.
Excellent. Oh, good. So we were just saying, we were having such great chats, we thought better start recording. You are family with?
Kate Clark and Violet Clark Waller.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Who were one of the first guests on this series of podcasts it was South Africa last year.
It was,
Yeah,
Sun City.
World Bench. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So I think they're absolutely awesome, and I think they've been on the show twice, just sort of catching up. It's very annoying to see someone as tiny as Kate pull those numbers, and then I run the back into my weight. I'm like, oh boy. So yeah. Exactly. So let's chat about your lifting. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then your powerlifting.
So I am actually a trained garden designer and horticulturalist.
And sorry, what do you think of my background?
I love it.
Full of plants. Yeah.
And
Oh wow.
so I thought that would be my career. And I've stayed in it since I left school, studied
Mm-hmm.
since I left school. And then I work at I manage a very small plant nursery in Sheffield, in England.
There's something about Sheffield with powerlifting. I can't think of what it is. SBD. Okay, so yeah.
I think I've heard of that company.
Yeah, you might have heard of them.
um,
So yeah.
I started powerlifting in 2021.
Right.
Controversially, I was 5 months pregnant when I started training, very lightly. I'll tell you a bit of the background of how I got into it, if that's okay. So, mid 2021, I had a bereavement of I'm going to get tissues in a minute, of a very, very close friend of mine. I was his part-time carer. He was my father figure. And he said to me, Christy, when I go, do something for you, don't put your time back into other people. Go and do something. So I took that moment, I thought about it, and I thought, well, what can I do for me? Because at that moment, the day he passed away, I thought, I can't, let me just think a second.
Sure.
Yeah. He would want me to do something for me, and I was dealing with that grief, and I thought, what do I do with all this emotion I've got?
Mm-hmm.
And my sister Kate Clark, I'd been doing some of her fitness classes to keep my mobility up, being pregnant. And she said, well, why don't you come and have a couple of sessions with me? On the day
Did
that
she
I would
say, or did she bully you? I want to know.
well,
Because she's small and
being
sweet, but
being a sister, I'm going to say gently coerce with force.
okay.
And she said, "Come and have a few sessions with me, and we'll see how we get on." And it would have been the time window that I would have gone shopping with Dave, taking him food shopping and things like that.
Okay.
So it was an
Sure.
empty slot in my week, and it kind of kicked off from there. And I trained weekly right up till 6 weeks before I gave birth.
Fantastic.
Not benching, I had to give that up in the third trimester because you
Yeah.
can't be on your back for too long. But yeah, my coach has got videos of me squatting right up to the very end of my pregnancy, and you better believe that exactly 6 weeks after I gave birth, I was back in that gym.
Brilliant. Yep.
Kind of caught the bug, I think.
Yep, absolutely. But it's such an incredible part of your story because it's so important. I think when you said Kate spoke to you about that time slot in the week, and you said it was empty. I'm sure it was literally empty. Those are times that are very difficult.
Yeah, that was the moment that grief started to hit, because it's like, well, what now? I was working part-time, well, 4 days a week I was still working, but I had this empty slot, and I couldn't fill it, and I didn't want to fill it with my own thoughts. And it's kind of stuck with me that you put that emotion into the bar. I'm sure some people would say that's probably not the healthiest way to deal with things. But I previously have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And, I do still carry some of those traits today, but I do deal with them better.
Right.
I put them into the bar. And in the gym, I've found this community where I can talk to people, and I can talk to people about different things, and they'll give me a view on it. And it's not judgmental. It's a really beautiful place in its own way. You can lose time in there.
Absolutely. And it's such a valid point that you make. I think that's the best description of powerlifting and the community. It's not judgmental.
Yeah, because and I've carried that with me. If I jump forward a little while, obviously I haven't been competing that long. I only started competing in 2020, August 23.
Right.
So just over a year. But I was training when I was on maternity leave, I was training 3 times, 4 times a week. It was very hard to get me out of the gym because it saved me from, and I spoke to my medical professionals about this, it saved me from postnatal depression. Because
Absolutely.
I would get in there, I would burn it out, I could pass my daughter around in a space that I felt safe. They say, that it takes a village, and that's where I found my village.
Yeah. And you knew they were strong enough to hold her.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If they dropped it, and I can see it now. She's nearly 3. She'll be 3 in January. And I've surrounded her with these powerful women, mainly powerful women. There's a few men in there. Her dad trains as well with me at the gym. And she's teaching me how to be, as well as I'm teaching her, because at that age they are such a reflection of you, and so impressionable. It's like a few weeks ago she said to me, I failed a lift. I think it was deadlift. I could not get it off the floor. That day it was just not moving.
Right.
And she said to me, well, don't worry, Mummy, you'll get it next time. And she gave me a big high five and said, we'll try it again. And I was like, yeah, we will get up and we'll try it again. And it's the same with her as it is from me. I needed to hear that, and she needed to hear that. It's real good, yeah.
And I think, what do you think of an environment such as a powerlifting gym in which to raise kids? What lessons does it teach them? What skills does it empower them with that you've seen with your daughter?
Well, there's a big world of, at the moment, the big buzzword is resilience, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really going round. I can see it in her that she's very resilient. She will copy me. She'll try and squat. She'll try and deadlift. She'll try and bench. but she won't pick anything up that she
Mm.
can't lift.
Yeah.
And I don't push her to. It's not that kind of thing. But the skills is there's a community there. She will cheer us all on and in her own way, you know, and she'll tell me when I'm not doing the best either. When I got third place at All England, I said, "How did Mummy do?" And she went, "Mummy did good." And I went, "Well, could she have done better?" And she went, "Well, yeah." And she's honest. There's nothing like hearing that from a 2-year-old.
Absolutely.
But she's been she's in an environment where everybody is winning at their own goals, which I think is
Yeah.
important.
That's
And
it. Yeah.
it's very it's great to see there's women of all different shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
They're all doing their own thing. They're all going for their own goals. And she's I know this is going to make her sound like an adult almost, but she's with them on that, and she knows that. And it's just a great environment for her. She's learning bar maths all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
she learns a lot of new words that I'm not sure about her learning, but the other week I was training squat and she jumped on the bar with me. She got a little step out to reach up to the bar and do a pull-up and
Oh.
get off the bar, and then she went and wrote in her book. And I said, "Is it my turn for my set?" And she said, "No, Mummy, I'm doing 6." And I was like, "Okay, you're doing 6." And she did 6 singles and wrote it in her book, and then said,
Oh.
"You can have the bar back now, Mummy." It's now what nursery will think of that, I'm not sure, but she's a tough little cookie. But I love the environment she's in, especially surrounded by stronger women.
That's and can we touch on that? I mean, why is that so important to you? I mean, it's a silly question to ask, but just want to unpack that more.
I think there's a lot of things out there at the moment to stop kids being kids.
Mm-hmm.
In my personal opinion, don't do that. Don't touch that. And being surrounded by strong women in their own mind and on the bar shows her that she can do that too. That's it. She can do what she wants. I mean, I've picked this up in my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But why can't she?
Yeah.
You know, and she can see the people behind me and she can see the people in front of me and the people that have started younger, like her cousin Violet,
Mm-hmm.
who is her best mate,
Oh.
and her auntie Kat, who she sees on the TV and she wants to watch on the TV and very regularly tells her that she falls asleep on her third bench. But it's, you know, showing her that nothing, if you put your mind to it and keep pushing that resilience, and yeah, you might fail something, but it doesn't mean you can't get up and try again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, all right, maybe, you know, it won't reflect to everything and the school environment is a different place. But if I can sort of, sorry, I've got the dog down here. If I can show her this little bit of me, of, you know, this window, and, you know, and she can see, well, my mummy was strong. She did it. She got up. She got on a big stage. And another thing that I wanted to impress on her was, I touched on earlier that I suffer with anxiety still. And depression, not so much now, but anxiety is still sort of, it creeps in. That's what I'd say now. It's not an all-encompassing, but it does creep in. I wanted to show her that even though I've got anxiety, to step up on that platform and be the only person there for that minute to do that lift is my moment on stage. You know, she can conquer it. I didn't want to impress my anxiety onto her because as much as she's a sponge and she soaks up everything, she soaks up the negatives too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
I wanted to show her that I could do that, and there's video evidence of me going out and doing that.
how has that helped you with your anxiety, understanding that you have to push through these things in order to show her what we are all capable of doing?
Um, it's been very, very important to me to do this kind of thing, because I always thought I wouldn't compete. I thought I'd just do it
Mm.
for strength, for my health, and then yet again some gentle coercion from the boss
Yeah, yeah.
was, well, why don't you just try it? You could try a novice.
Mm.
It's a nice environment. And I sort of caught a bug. And although the anxiety still comes, I'm learning skills and ways to deal with it. So before I would get anxious a week before. Now it's probably a couple of days before.
Right.
And obviously you still get the butterflies on the day. I think if you don't get that, it doesn't mean anything to you.
If you don't get
Um,
that, your openers are wrong.
yeah. um, and so it was it's been a very important, I don't know, how do they call it? Progression for me
Hmm.
to battle, not battle with my anxiety, work with my anxiety,
Right.
without going down a medication route.
No,
Because
it's yeah. Sorry.
I'd rather not do that. I'd rather work with it and cope and learn strategies.
Yes. And sometimes, I have anxiety as well. I've been sober for nearly 18 years, so I understand exactly what you're saying. And like for me, like flying is a terrifying thing because I dealt with my anxiety by leaving. When you're on a plane in the air, they don't like it. It's like if I was uncomfortable in an environment, I would leave. So, then forcing myself to fly, you learn to deal with it. And I think that's a beautiful thing about powerlifting is you get healthier, you build healthier relationships, you build your community, and you get to deal with your anxiety. And the question I'd like to ask is, when you get your hands around the bar, where is the anxiety? Or when you're stepping onto that platform at competition, is it still there or does it leave?
It, I'm pretty sure it goes into the center ref when I'm
Yep.
staring him down to give me the command.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. Yeah.
those first few steps onto the platform, and then my mind switches. It
Mm.
goes to a place of, no, you've been training for this. If you don't do this, what was the last 18, 15, 12, whatever weeks that
Mm-hmm.
you've trained for? What was it for?
Right.
Go and show them what you can do. Um, and if you fail, nobody minds. If it was an opener fail and it was a technical error, then yeah, okay, it got the better of you. But
Yeah.
but you've got 3 goes, and
Yeah.
everybody wants you to be on the board. That's
Right.
what I love about powerlifting. Even your competitor
Mm-hmm.
wants you to be on the board, because if you're not on the board, you're not playing the game.
That's it.
So
And
everyone
yeah.
cheers you on, whatever it is. Like, I'll go back to the English. My bench was 50 kilos, my last bench. And that was 20, 30 kilos behind, everyone else was benching 60 plus.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody said anything to me. They all wanted me to get my third. The crowd went wild. There was a child crying in the crowd. And at that moment, I thought, I'm so glad I had my daughter in the gym, because she cried and I could still bench. So that child crying, I can still bench.
Wow. Yeah.
um, but nobody thought any less of me, because they knew I was a third lift. I was going for a
Mm-hmm.
PB on
Mm-hmm.
platform, and everybody got behind me, and it made me feel electric when I got it. Which my coach said, well, that was easy. But
Why do they always do that?
they're never happy, are they? It's either could have got that, or
Yeah.
That was easy. You should have put more on.
Yeah. Or you get someone from the audience as well shouting, yeah, put some weight on that. You know, one of your mates from the gym. Exactly. Oh, wow.
Yeah, every time.
Every day.
Every time.
What a sport. Yep.
When we go back to the anxiety and stuff as
Yes.
well, I just want to touch on what we talked about before the camera started rolling about that deadlift at All England.
Yes.
When the bar got misloaded and I by 2.5 on one side and I didn't know, I just went and pulled it. So to come off then, having pulled it and thinking, well, that bar felt funny, I should have got that every day of the week. There's no reason I should have got reds for that. The going back off and then being allowed to go out for a fourth pull, because I was the lowest in the pack, I was the first out,
Right.
having to then follow myself and only having a 4-minute break.
Yep.
That was a learning curve. That was whatever you do in training, it's not always in your control.
Yes.
And you've just got to deal with what's in front of you. Unfortunately, I didn't get my third lift. I had my coach was in doing attempt changes to buy me more time to rest up. But
clever.
Yeah,
good.
Playing,
yeah, playing
and
the
crowd
game.
loved it. The crowd loved it. The refs, not so much. They wanted to go home.
If it's in the rules, it's in the rules.
And you've got to play it. And that was an anxiety I wasn't expecting, but I had to deal with it.
Right.
So that then comes back to the resilience again, because then I was just literally waiting for the clock.
Yeah.
And trying to get myself back into the zone that I didn't think I'd have to be in.
That you've never had to be in before for a fourth attempt.
Yeah, I'd never been. Well, it was my first national competition.
Oh, wow.
And it was my first, it was actually my first competition out of region in a new venue. So it was all a bit much anyway. And that just made it more exciting, I guess. And then when I went back, came back to region and I helped out at the novice competition, I started getting recognised. Oh, you're the girl at the All England with the deadlift, and I went, oh yeah, that's me. And that was I was like, oh, people do recognise me as a powerlifter now. It's not what I ever thought it would be. It's weird.
Yeah. So can we touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Sort of, what were your expectations of being a powerlifter versus what are they now?
What were they? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know what powerlifting was. 3 years ago, I'd have done the same as what everybody else on the street does. Oh, that's weightlifting, right?
And then you go, no, that's weightlifting. Yeah. When your hands go.
I don't put weight over my head. That's my response every time. So that was 3 years ago. I had no idea, and I never thought I would step into a gym. In fact, I never had stepped into a gym. I was never into sports. I was very much of a mind of if I'm running, you should be running too, because there's something to run from.
Right.
Yeah.
Or two if you're late for dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was. Well, yeah, because I was 20 kilos heavier 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, obviously, I went up when I was pregnant and dropped it back down. But I had no idea what it was. My expectations now, wait and see, I guess. Just keep training. Let's see where we end up.
Yeah. So, no problem. What kind of dog?
Jack Russell.
Oh, okay. World smart.
Yeah.
The intelligence of an 8-year-old or your average politician.
This one is a bit ball focused.
Okay.
And he put a ball under a cabinet, and now he won't leave it alone.
Okay. Focused or obsessed? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he was a powerlifter, he'd be great.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
So back to it's now a wait and see.
Right.
I'm just keeping going through. I'm training every week. You know, I'm going in for the competitions. I'm a reserve at the Commonwealths that's coming up. I've not yet been called up, but
We're
there's
holding
about 3
thumbs.
days left, so
Yep.
we don't know. Uh,
Okay.
but that's a scary thought. I mean, that would be my fourth competition, would be the Commonwealth.
Right. Wow. That's kind of cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got the invite, which is beautiful,
Mm,
and I've got the tracksuit, which is great.
mm,
Um, I want to actually touch on this, a conversation me and my partner had about it. I said to him, I said, well, I came third. I don't feel like I'm good enough to be called up. And he went,
mm-hmm.
well, he said, at this point, you don't get to make that choice as to whether you're good enough anymore. They make the choice, because
That's
at
so
what point
cool.
will you ever be good enough in your own
Yeah.
mind? Because when you're always looking up, aren't you? You're never
Yeah.
looking back. And he said to me, he said, you don't get to make that choice. They've made that choice. They say you're good enough. They want you to be there if you're required to be there. And I was like,
Sure.
yeah. Because I think that's another important thing. Being a powerlifter, you need, as much as you need your gym community, you need your, whatever you decide, whatever you call your family unit.
Yes.
My other half, he did his first novice competition this year.
Awesome.
Just to his words were, I want to see what you go through so that I know how to deal with you. The comp crazies, as we
Yeah.
term it in
Yeah.
our house. But he's been so supportive. Without the people who've helped me get there, I would never get there.
Right.
Be it babysitting so I can go to the gym, or providing the money so I can go to stay overnight in a hotel to do a
Mm,
competition.
mm.
Um, so yeah, big shout out to the partners, parents, friends, family, anyone who helps anyone get to competitions, because it is a big thing.
It's
Uh,
so valuable, that point, and that's why I do these podcasts, because the athletes deserve the opportunity, with all the work, with all the commitment and the dedication, and the wonderful gift that the athletes give the public by sharing their story and hopefully getting people into powerlifting. These podcasts are about creating awareness of the sport, sharing stories. So I know, like, your story is really going to resonate very strongly with moms, and I think with any single parent. Not that just in terms of having your kids at the gym. And I think it's such a big thing to understand that you could take your kid to a gym, and that's how great the powerlifting gyms are, because people there. It's a community, and that's why the stories need to be shared, because everybody deserves to be a powerlifter, and the
yeah,
powerlifters deserve the support of their communities to enable them to get to the competitions.
yeah, it's a really
Mm,
big part. I mean, I didn't realize how big a community it would be. I mean, I've spoke to Kate, my coach, a
mm.
number of times on the matter, in them quiet moments, and said, what a wonderful group of people we have around us in this gym. People who would never cross paths,
Yeah,
but we're all united by the bar,
that's it.
and
Yeah.
and we're all chasing whatever our goal might be. I mean, we have people in the gym who aren't powerlifting, but they still, they're all chasing their own goals, um, and it's great to watch. You know,
Absolutely.
everyone's starting
Absolutely.
from a different place. We've got people in their 50s who are just starting. We've got like Violet, who's oh gosh, she's old now. She's
Yeah,
17
she's over
nearly.
the hill now. I mean, it's really correct.
Yeah. um, but then we've got my daughter, who is 3, who
Mm,
nearly 3, who wants to join in because it's fun.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it's such a range of people. And there's nothing, as well, another thing to touch on is there's nothing that's taboo. I mean, we talk about menstrual cycles, we talk about food, we in a
Mm,
in an environment, in a healthy way.
yes,
You know, that's another thing that's probably powerlifting has taught me, how to eat properly. So I'm eating properly, she's eating properly.
Yep.
So there's loads of elements that come together under this umbrella of powerlifting that I never knew existed before 3 years ago. And it came from grief, which is, for me personally, it came from grief, which is such a beautiful thing, really. It's what Dave would have wanted for me. Sorry.
No, you're going to make me cry now. Thank you.
But if I can do it, so can anyone else.
Yeah. It's a wonderful way of showing self-love, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And whether overall, I'm a happy lifter. You know, if I'm happy, I'm lifting well. If I am sad or grieving or angry, maybe I don't lift as well, but I'm going to that place. I'm lifting the bar, but I'm not only lifting the bar, I'm talking to my community and sharing it, which it's a bit like, they always say that PTs are the ultimate therapists. And it's true. Yeah. It's true.
We're looking at introducing 2 rates now, with therapy, without therapy.
I've had a little donation box on the door of how long you've been there. But yeah, so, and there's different people there that I can talk to as well, like for different things, because everyone's got their own life experiences. So, yeah, I think it's a great place to be. And I can't see my life without powerlifting now, if I'm honest.
That's awesome. How is powerlifting, how is competitions in particular, and dealing with anxiety in competition helped you or taught you about dealing with anxiety in your day-to-day life?
Real quick answer to this would be, so if I'm doing something that could cause anxiety, for example, if I hadn't have arranged with you this quick to do this interview, I would have found maybe 40 different reasons of why not to do it.
I have to do this. Hang on.
But I would have found every reason not to do it, because in my head, my story is not that important. It is not that significant. Why would anyone want to hear from you?
So I'll tell you this now. Yours is one of the most important stories that I think we will ever share.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. That means a lot, actually. So it's taught me day to day to do these things. 1, what is the worst that can happen? And 2, just try. Just try. Just try these things. Shake yourself. Just go and try it. Because, again, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. And, end of the day, you get 3 attempts.
That's it. Unlike life.
But there would have been a lot of things I used to say no to.
Okay.
And I used to be, like yourself, I wasn't an alcoholic, but I did used to drink very heavily, to a point where it was beginning to impact my health. So I've learned other strategies, and like I say, going under that bar and doing things, and there's a lot that relates back to the anxiety and into my everyday life. I would say I'm living a much more positive physical and mental life right now, and I have to give a moment as well to my workplace, because they have been very supportive of me powerlifting.
Do you want to give a shout out to them?
It's Bents Green Nurseries in Sheffield, and my boss particularly, Philip Smith, has been almost definitely an extended family.
Well, then hang on a second.
He's given me the time off when I've needed it. He they understand that I need to train 4 times a week. Now he knows that I'll give it back when I can, and so it's a mutual sort of relationship in the workplace. But yeah,
That's
big
so
shout
cool.
out to him.
So
Yeah, he's let me.
I have to ask you a question on that though, Christy, because
Go on.
have you found now they go, yeah, that's a bit heavy. Christy, you're a powerlifter. Can you move that, please?
Absolutely, yeah. My favourite is when customers buy a bag of compost
Yeah.
and they ask me to pop up. They say, "Can you put it in the car for me? I've got a bad back." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, of course I will," and I just hump it onto one shoulder, and they go, "Whoo, you're a strong girl." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do
Yeah.
that." My favourite line is, "If I do this now, I can have an extra biscuit at break time."
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, I do get called out for the heavy jobs. Yeah.
that's, that's only fair. Um, what's it like being strong now? What does that mean to you? What has it given you?
Um, I feel fitter, and I know that sounds very that's hard to interpret, but I used to puff and pant when I'd go up the stairs. I'm
Hmm.
not even going to try and deny that. Um, I couldn't lift compost as well as, and even if I could do it, I'd feel it afterwards.
Mm.
Um, it's yeah, that has been a big change. I mean, I can pick my daughter up, and like I said, she's nearly 3. She's 14 kilos. I can pick her up like it's nothing, and that was probably one of my main drivers to keep going. Like, let's see how old she gets before I can't pick her up anymore. If she
You're gonna have
gets
to get
into a
one of
fight
those.
at school,
Yeah, yeah. You have to get one of those IPF stickers for her to.
yeah, approved, approved
Yeah,
weight.
absolutely approved weight.
um, but every day,
Mm.
I can do all the shopping now in one run from the car. It's a beautiful thing. I don't, I can let her go into the house and get all the shopping in one go.
Yes.
It it's in, probably one of the best bits about it is how strong I now feel. Like, but I've said physically and mentally. But if we're going on the physical route,
Yes.
um, great. It's helped me at work. I'm not as fatigued. I can keep running with the dog, which is great because he thinks, he might be 7, but he acts like he's 6 months old still.
Yep.
Uh,
Absolutely.
and I want to be able to keep up with my daughter because
Right.
she's now at the stage where she just keeps running.
Mm.
And if you can't keep up, then she's leaving you behind.
Right. And getting away.
Yeah.
What do they say? Nothing's faster than a 3-year-old that's been asked, "What's that in your mouth?"
Yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
That is and if her and the dog are working together, then I've got no
Okay.
chance.
Absolutely.
The only
Oh.
thing I'm finding now is I'm struggling to smaller weights. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely 200 grams of chicken. No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
400 grams. It just feels lighter than it did.
I don't see how that's a problem. Sorry.
Yeah,
It,
it's only because
yeah.
the coach is
Mm.
listening. I actually mean
Ah,
donuts
yeah, yeah, okay. Absolutely. It's amazing how chicken can be mistaken for a donut.
every
It
time.
happens, yeah, lean chicken actually as well. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you know what you call lean chicken? It's just chicken without glazing. Um, so you spoke about the eating and what the food meant to you as well, how that changed with competition. 'Cause eating for performance is actually a wonderful thing in terms of how it changes your perspective. How has that been for you?
um, yeah, I've noticed a lot of different on our plate. It's not quite as beige as it once was. I have to tell you this peak moment as I was training up to the
Mm-hmm.
the English powerlifting championship uh, for the Commonwealth. I bought a packet of donuts, and it was about 3 weeks out from competition. And I said to my other half, I got 2 out, and I went, "Do you know what? Whatever, I'm having this donut. I've not tracked it, but I'm having it."
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me from the other side of the sofa as I got this donut out, and it touched my lips, and I went, "Do you know what? Actually, this is not worth it." And I passed it to him, And that, for
Sure.
me, is the peak moment when it actually meant something. I thought, if I can pass this up after
Mm-hmm.
having a really rough day, this must mean something to me.
That's phenomenal.
But yeah, I grow a lot of my own vegetables, so my eating was always pretty good anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was quantity that was my downfall, and drink. You
Right.
know, those hidden calories that you don't think about. Um, so yeah, our diet has changed, but I would say it's more weighing things out. Changing plate size was a weird one, but it worked.
Okay. Yep.
You know, just going down one size of plate, it still looks like a full plate of food. And not
Absolutely.
mindlessly eating as well in front of
Yeah.
the TV. I could lose
Yes.
a whole bag of popcorn in front of the TV and not think about it.
Yep.
Um,
Mindful eating is huge.
yeah, and it was a big thing in my, you know, you'd have an alcoholic beverage and a big share bag, and of course it came in one bag, so it was one portion. Uh,
Yeah, obviously. If
um,
you can hold it
yeah,
with
that's
one hand, it's one portion.
yeah, it was a big thing for me, especially like prior to meeting my other half. I lived on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and that was when I was probably in my darkest place,
Mm.
because you'd finish work being in a crowd of people, and then you'd come home and you're on your own,
Yeah.
and there's no one to stop you doing that. And I lived the other side of the city to my family, so I never thought about it. I didn't look after myself. That's just pure and simple. I did not look after myself because, what was it for?
Yeah.
You go to work, you pay your bills. That was it. Um, until I met Dave, and then he introduced, like, I'd go and see him 3 times a week, and we'd do things out. We'd go to the theatre and we'd go to the cinema and things. His mobility was bad, so I'd push him around in a wheelchair. But we did it. And then I started to look after myself because I had to look after myself for him.
Right.
Because if I didn't go, no one would go.
Right.
And that sort of started it. And then I got better. And then when the powerlifting came in, and my coach went, "Have you heard of an app called MyFitnessPal?" And I was like, "Oh." And she was like, "Here, I've set it up for you. Let's go." And I'm like, "Okay."
Scan the barcode.
Yeah. And then as you start putting things in, you're like, "Oh, I was eating for 3 people and I did not realize."
Yeah, absolutely.
um, so I've started making better swaps because I'd rather have quantity
Mm.
than, I'm a quantity eater rather than a protein bar, I'd rather have a full plate of dinner.
Yes.
That, and it's good because I've passed it straight down onto my daughter, and she doesn't know any different because she didn't see me before that.
And
Um,
I think it's so valuable for those lessons. Give them a passion and a love for the gym, that it's a safe place, and
yeah,
a real understanding, even if they don't realize they understand it, of the value of the gym. It's not just a place to go and build muscles, but it's community, it's connection, it's self-development, and then also a love for healthy eating. I mean, I don't think that there are greater gifts, along with, self-belief, that you can give your kids, because you're giving them health.
yeah, absolutely. I was saying it the other week. Somebody said to me, she said, "I love your daughter. She's so wholesome. Like, she goes
Sure.
into she comes to the garden in our back garden, and
Mm-mm.
she'll pick the veg, like the blueberries that we've grown, and she'll come and she'll just eat them, and then she'll go to the gym and she'll show people the carrots that she's grown, and it's I think if you asked all parents, they would 99.9% of them want what's best for their kids.
Yeah.
And at that age, especially sort of between the ages of 1 and 5, they're a sponge, and you give them everything you can. So
Mm-hmm.
that honestly is all I've done, is try and give her, you can grow vegetables, and if she's grown it, she wants to cook it, she wants to eat it, so she's more open to it. um, Going to the gym, watching other women, chasing goals, lifting weights. She wants to go. It looks fun. Then you can watch people on the telly. I tell her all the time, "Oh, you get stickers." She goes to gymnastics. You got stickers. I said, when you're big enough and you're like, Mummy, instead of stickers, they give you medals. And she loves that. It's so important to, give them as much as you can.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most parents do. But I think powerlifting was never it was never on my radar. But like I said, now I can't see any life without it. And I
Right.
know at some point my daughter will walk away because it's not cool anymore because mum does it. But
Well,
she'll come
not if you qualify for the national team. Then
Well, we'll
suddenly,
see. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
she might like nice holidays.
yeah, exactly.
That's what my other half keeps saying now. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to lift, but I'm going to follow you round and we'll just have nice holidays. I'm like, yeah, all right, it's holiday for you, mate.
yeah. You're carrying my bags and getting my protein shakes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you said sort of like, I mean, and you touched on the point of parents want what's best for their children, which
yeah,
is so true. But sometimes the parents don't know what's best for them.
yeah,
And powerlifting is a wonderful way, a wonderful tool to start to discover that what are the things that are important to us. A good healthy community, understanding that we can work towards goals that we want to achieve, doing things we never believed we could, healthy
yeah.
eating, valuing yourself, all of these things, getting support. It is, I genuinely believe, the best sport in the world.
Yeah, I would agree with you because at school I was the last to get picked for any team.
Mm.
Um,
Same here.
and I hated it. I hated
Yeah.
PE. I
Mm.
genuinely, it was a popularity contest as to whether you could run fast or be in the right groups or look right and I didn't fall into any of those categories. And it was all netball or football or
Mm.
field hockey or dance and I didn't gel with any of those sports. I wish it would have been mainstream then to have a gym. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't even mean like just free weights, any sort of environment like that in a school so that they could say, well, okay, maybe that's not for you, but maybe this is. And I'm very,
Yeah.
very humbled by the fact that I've jumped so many loops so quickly in powerlifting. Um, I mean, to say that I've only done 4 competitions is just scary and unbelievable. I have to give myself a pat on the back.
Absolutely.
Um,
Hang on. You ready? And three, two,
yep.
one.
Um, but I wish someone had given it me that earlier. But by the
Mm.
same token, would I have been in the place I am now? You know, I found it in my own path, and I have to thank Kate for that. I mean, it was her thing first,
Yeah.
uh, and she went, "Come and try this thing with me," and I was like, "All right, what's the worst that could happen?" So it was born from family and grief, and
Yeah.
well, it was born from grief, and then a family member wanting to look out for me and give me a safe space to grieve.
Sure.
And then I was pregnant, and thankfully, Kate has a background in midwifery, so she could give me
Mm-hmm.
uh, exercises that would help me as my body changed. And, don't worry, we'll get your body back when it's all done. And then it sort of progressed. So, when I needed it, it was there. Would I have had that same route? Maybe not. Would I have been a world champion by now? Who knows if I'd have started earlier. Um, but I'm very much enjoying the path I'm on now.
It's awesome. So, two questions. One, are
Yeah, of
you
course.
your own champion?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
there's some things that can't be measured by other people. And I have to remind myself of that.
Mm-hmm.
Have I come a long way in the last 5 years pre powerlifting? Mentally, am I stronger? Physically, am I stronger? Yeah. Have I got way to go? Probably. but it's a journey, and I'm excited for it.
And I think that's also another wonderful thing about the sport. In life, sometimes it's very difficult to track our progress,
Hmm.
right? Am I stronger mentally? Am I stronger physically? All of these things, like, am I doing better? Am I really where I want to be? Because sometimes we think we should be there, but
Yeah.
we're here. But in reality, we should be here, and then we're suddenly much further. And because the gains in powerlifting are visible, you can see the
Yeah.
weight going up on the bar or not. When you hit a plateau, that's what makes it so great, that we can measure our progress and our growth. So on
Yeah. I
that
mean,
point, oh, sorry, yep,
if we take it back to the community a bit as well, sometimes if I lose vision on that,
mm, yep,
someone will say to me, "Well, a couple of years ago that was a war, that was your top set, and now it's in your warm ups."
yeah,
And you forget that they give you that sort of that feedback that you need to hear at that moment. So
absolutely.
it's not only you watching your progress, it's everyone else watching their
Everyone,
progress. So
yeah,
when you're winning, they're winning too because
too,
they've
yeah.
watched you grow.
And as you're
Yeah,
watching them grow,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a lot of our gym is actually coming out to South Africa for the bench. I think there
awesome.
might even be 8 or 9 of them
Oh,
coming out
wow.
for.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all Kate's clients. Most of them are
Mm,
Kate's clients. Um, so you might be able to catch up with them then.
yeah,
But we
absolutely.
we we come as a troop.
Yeah, epic.
Uh,
Yeah. If
great
they
group
think
of
they're
people.
going to be lying around the pool relaxing, I'm going to be there with my cameras and microphones. So best you bring dressing gowns if you don't want to be interviewed in your swimwear. So, so So, and by the way, I think if you ask Kate about that, I mean, the pools at Sun City are absolutely fabulous. And this time, the Valley of the Waves, the water park, is open because it was closed last year and it was closed the year before because of the time of the competition. So it's really going to be spectacular now. So you have to come. So now, what does the future hold? What are your goals? What are your plans? What are the dreams?
Um, well, I'm just gonna keep keep pushing. I mean, if I don't get called up this time and I don't come
Hmm.
out to South Africa, um, it just touching on that. I mean, I am over the moon that I got called up, but by the same token, at the same time, I'm hoping I don't get the final call up because £3,000 to a young family is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've saved a
Boy, are
bit.
you going to share this video? We're going to share it everywhere if you get the call up. Yeah.
The little bit I have saved.
Mm.
Then someone in the gym was saying to me, "Well, what?" And I said, "Well, it'll sit there, and next time I will get called up, and that money will be there, and I'm going to get it." Because if someone told me 5 years ago, "Why don't you go out and get a medal for your country?"
Yep.
You know, even if it's a participation award because I weighed in, I'm
Yep.
going to go and get it because I'll be there on the internet forever, and no
Yep.
one can take that away. And I'm going to say this, and I don't want to offend anyone. It may not. I didn't want to be at this stage just a mum. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to show my daughter that you can be everything else. Anything you want to be, you don't have to just do what people expect you to do. Go out and try things, So I am going to keep pushing with my goals, keep training, keep my head down. I've got the British Open coming up at the end of the year,
Right.
where I'll go and play with the worldies. I might rank 7th, 8th, but I'll be up there and playing with them, so that'll be fun. And watch their numbers and go, well, if you can get that, why can't I? I
Yeah.
might be a few years behind you, but I'll come and bring the fight to you when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'll
Absolutely.
just keep going. Maybe the next Commonwealth,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I'll keep
Awesome.
entering competitions and keep going.
Well,
Uh,
we're holding thumbs for this one, but if not,
yeah,
definitely those coming
yeah,
on. And I think people maybe don't realize the incredible value of that participation medal. the value of standing there with your national tracksuit on and a medal around your neck, shoulder to shoulder with your team at the
Yeah.
medal ceremony at the end. It's incredible, and it's something that people should experience. And,
Absolutely.
I want us to grow the sport so that internationals take place over 4 months because there's so many athletes. Okay, maybe not
I,
4 months, maybe 2 weeks, but you got 8,000 lifters at a club comp.
yeah, I, I do
That's
think it's important to
mm,
experience that and to be able to represent your country. I'll just flip back to what I said earlier about at what you don't get to decide when you're good enough.
yeah,
Other people will
absolutely,
decide that, and
absolutely,
that at that moment, when my other half said that to me, Oliver, when he said that, I was like, oh, yeah, I am good enough because I made the English team,
yeah,
which means the only place to go is the world,
exactly,
And why can't I do that?
yeah, that's it.
My anxiety might try and stop me, but I'll just work with it and just go for it.
The anxiety is never as heavy as what you load on the bar.
Absolutely. And
You
you
know?
just put it into the center ref. I've said it before. You just
Yep,
stare them
you
down.
stick at the poor chief ref. They're like,
Yeah. You better give me the start command.
yeah, quick, right quick. Oh, Christy, it's been absolutely wonderful chatting to you. I want to say thank you so much for your time. We could chat for so much longer. So I think we definitely want to do this again as well because you've shared stuff that's life changing for people.
Yeah.
And that is really, whether they start powerlifting or not, whether they're in the sport or not, some really incredible insights in us. And I wanted to thank you for that. And I wanted to thank you for your courage and for overcoming your anxiety, not overcoming it. We never overcome our anxiety, right? We just have the odd battle with it, right? So for beating your anxiety, and showing your anxiety that you value sharing your message and your story with the world. So thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Nick. Can I just finish on this?
Sure.
Powerlifting, there is space for everyone. Whatever you're doing, wherever you come from, whatever background, whatever age, come and give it a go. Because you'll find your place, and wherever you end up, have fun.
Absolutely. Have fun and know you're up against yourself. And you're up
Absolutely.
you're up against someone who's going to become your best friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
Well,
I'm
my
going
sister.
No, yeah. No. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. She's sweet and scary. No, she's sweet and scary. No, I'm just kidding. She's not scary. She's a sweetheart. Well, hi, Kate.
She's coming for you in Africa.
Yeah, I know. Gonna have to change hotel rooms. Just like there'll be a knock on the door at 4 in the morning. Oi, you've been talking. No, just swapping out my chalk for baby powder. Good thing I'm not
Yeah.
lifting though. Oh, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to end the recording and then I'll just chat to you after that.
All right. Cheers, Nick.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.